It is that time of the year once more where we head north of the border and we go to Knockhill here in Scotland for rounds 19, 20 and 21 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. It's an all-action lap. It's a pretty short lap as well, just over 1.2 miles in length. And the championship first came here back in 1992. The fastest ever qualifying lap around here, claimed by Rory Butcher a long time ago, back in 2019 in his Honda Civic days. Ash Sutton is the lap record holder from just a year later in 2020. And Ash Sutton comes here this weekend trying to get back his championship lead. It's Tom Ingram now at the head of the standings, Sutton second. And if you're thinking it's a two-horse race, well, think again. The Dans, Rowbottom and Camish are not out of the hunt. Tom Chilton is fifth, Adam Morgan sixth, and Jake Hill, the reigning champion, is back in action this weekend after having to sit out Croft. He's seventh. His BMW stablemate Charles Rainford coming into the top 8 last time out at Croft. So qualifying is set to get underway in a few moments' time. It's the usual format going into that final 6-car, 6-driver shootout to determine the first 3 rows of the grid. Q1 split into the 2 groups based on how the drivers fared in the second of the free practice sessions. And around here, Q1 all about not being slow. You do get quite a lot of laps in, given that it's a short lap. So within the 10 minutes compared to, say, Snetterton, you get a bit more mileage, and it's going to be, as ever, a very hectic qualifying session indeed. So before we get into the meat of Q1, it is time to catch up on 1 or 2 of the stories from the paddock. There is one that rather dominates the news agenda this weekend, and it surrounds Powermax Racing. We'll come to that in a moment or two. But before we talk about PMR's travails, what about Jake Hill? Earlier on in the day, Tim Harvey and Louise Goodman took their traditional stroll through the paddock and started with the reigning champion.
Well, here we are north of the border for our annual trip to Knockhill, and I'm very happy to say this man is back here with us. Such a difficult decision to make, to have to sit out Croft, but you were too ill, weren't you?
I was, I wasn't in a great place. I'm glad that Dr. Traff almost took it away from me, because I still would have had a go, I think. But no, it had to be done. I had to just recover and just take time to get better, really. But I feel great. So good to be here in Knockhill. I love it. It's one of my favourite tracks. I've won every single year here in a BMW, and I'm hoping to keep that going. What
are your thoughts with this circuit? Because as you say, it's a fantastic track, a track everybody loves. Can you do it here again?
I'm going to try my hardest, Lou. I mean, it's...
That wasn't the question. I don't doubt you're going to try. But how do you rate your chances? Because the car hasn't been exactly where you want it this year, has it?
No, it's not been great. I mean, I think it's, very rare, that a champion from the previous year is, I mean, I know I've missed around, but I was even 5th before Croft. So, we've been struggling this year for sure. It's not been the best cars to drive, but, we're slowly making improvements. And I think regardless, this track, I know we talk about cars suiting certain tracks, but this track really is one of our best tracks. So we're going to give it our best.
Yeah, I mean, no pressure, but rear-wheel drive cars have won 10 out of the last 15 races here. Colin was on pole last year and won race 1. Yeah. You've got plenty of boost. Charles, your teammate, was quickest in free practice too. I mean, there are no excuses.
There's not really, Tim, especially as I am P nowhere in the championship now, and I've got a bit more boost to go into qualifying with. So, yeah, you're right, there's no excuses, and I'm sure that one of us will be on the top step tomorrow.
Just final question. I know you've made some changes. There have been a little bit of a weight reduction in the car. That came before Cross. More importantly, you've been working on the engine drivability and revisiting last year's engine map. Has that made a difference?
It seems to have helped, for sure. I mean, we experimented with that SNET test that we did prior to Croft. Seemed to help a lot there. Obviously, Croft... I mean, it felt all right in the FP1 session I did, but I couldn't exactly see where I was going. And then this morning, it feels a lot better. So yeah, it's been a good little progress we've made. Again, we definitely don't have the quickest car. Still is the Hyundai, I think, by a country mile. But we are making steady progress.
Well, don't let us down. Don't let yourself down. I've got 50p on it, okay?
It was £2 earlier on. He's taken £1.50 off. So as we say, a track everybody loves. It's produced some classic races. I mean, we had an amazing classic race 3 at Croft last time out, didn't we? This circuit has produced some classic races, but also it's quite a key circuit in terms of championship and results, isn't it?
Yeah, we're in the back end of the championship, so every race is critical. This is a circuit which is a jeopardy circuit. You've got 3 completely blind crests here, a very short lap, only slightly longer actually than Brands Hatch, but a slightly longer lap time. but it's a circuit of jeopardy because so much can go wrong here, whether it's the weather, which shouldn't be a factor this weekend, or just the proximity of the racing. So it's a circuit to try and get through with 3 cleanish races and as many points as you can. But your championship at this point of the year could be badly affected if things go wrong.
Yeah, we're talking of things going wrong. We're heading now towards PMR, who really have been the big story of the past week. Obviously, that absolute nightmare that they had with their premises burning down. I mean, to even be here, I think, is almost it's incredible, isn't it?
I mean, it is the big story this weekend. Just being here is amazing. The fact that they're actually trying to do really well here, because Mikey Doble is winning the independents, and within 3 hours of that fire going, they were working out a way to be here and be competitive.
Yeah.
So
come on in. We're actually going to be having a long old chat with the team. Jump in the middle, Mikey. We're going to be featuring the team in our show tomorrow. But I mean, what are your thoughts? What were your thoughts when those cars? Well, first of all, when you heard the news, did you think that's it? That's my championship done?
Initially, yeah. You know, I got a call from Adam on Saturday afternoon, and I thought either something's happened or I'm in trouble, because I just wouldn't get a call like that. So I phoned him straight back and obviously heard the devastating news. But fair play to Adam. Within 3 hours of the disaster happening, we had something sorted and we were racing. So it's unbelievable, really. And then fast forward 6 days, they've been flat out getting these 2 cars ready for us, just to give us a chance, let alone, you know, get them to how we want them in terms of our balance and everything. But we're here and we're getting better. So.
Well, that's a key thing as well, because a car is not just a car. I mean, driving a car, you know, you kind of have muscle memory. You've been in that trusty old Astra for a while now. So to step into a brand new car, just how difficult is that? Because people might think, well, driving is driving.
It's difficult for all of us. I mean, for me in particular, the biggest change is I'm going from a left-hand drive car to a right-hand drive car. And, you know, anyone that's driven abroad in Europe and gets a hire car will know that sometimes the muscle memory sticks through and you end up punching the air with the other hand when you're trying to change gear. But just getting to learn its characteristics and its nuances, what makes it quick and everything, it's taking time. You know, I'm not going to lie. It's compared to where we're used to being so far this season, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but we're getting better every session, and that's the key point.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't had many laps under your belt. I'm not sure quite what happened in FP2 there. You were off the track for a little while, but inherently the car is very similar, isn't it, to the Astra? It's a short wheelbase hatchback car, so hopefully your setup information should transfer onto it, even if you are changing gear with the window winder.
Yeah, I mean, on paper it should be the same, but, you know, this car was obviously built by different people. It was built at a much later time, and, you know, at the moment we're still trying to get our head around what change does what. And you're right, we didn't get as many laps in that session as we'd have hoped. You know, we were late getting down there for a reason I don't know yet, and, you know, it's happened now. And we had red flags and all sorts out there that hindered our progress. So, you know, I think we're going to be on a little bit of back foot going into qualifying, but then the same breath, the pressure's taken off now. We can just do as good as we can do with what we've got, and then just try and improve every session. As long as we're improving, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're winners just for being here. So every time you go out, that's a victory in itself. And I'm sure the weekend will only get better for you.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, like I say, to support everyone that's around us all weekend, and you see in the applause we're getting when we're going round, it's pretty special. So we're going to soak it all in and try and use that as extra ammunition to go a few places better.
Listen, best of luck in qualifying this afternoon. We will all be absolutely rooting for you. And that is going to be coming up pretty soon.
Mikey Doble talks about muscle memory. It's the same for us. PMR Cupras. Cupra. Having talked about Vauxhall Astras for so long, it's going to take a bit of getting used to. Let's just remind you, or at least mention first up, who is going to be in the first group. You may have been following this, if you're not at the circuit, via TSL, the timekeeping force, and seeing what's been going on in free practice. But the drivers that go into Group 1 are then Charles Rainford, who was quickest in FP2, Dan Lloyd, Senna Proctor, Daryl De Leon, Dan Camish, James Dorlin, who's never been here before, Sam Osborne, Tom Chilton, Dexter Patterson, Ash Sutton, yes, he was only 19th, we'll come to him in a moment, and Nick Halstead. Tim, Ash Sutton 19th, because?
He said he was saving tyres. He said he was not using you, didn't your quality type run, was sharing information with the others, but didn't seem entirely confident, I've got to be honest.
Okay, Carl's on track then. The 10 minutes has already started to count down. As ever, finding clear track space is going to be important. There is Ash Sutton, who could do with that point for pole. It's going to be very difficult, of course, because he comes here second in the championship. That means the way that the regulations work out for the TOCA Turbo Boost, he will have 3 seconds per lap. It'll be 1 for Tom Ingram, it'll be 5 for Dan Rowbottom, 7 for Dan Camish, 9 for Tom Chilton. Adam Morgan gets 11, Jake Hill gets 13, everybody else gets 15. And this is Dexter Patterson's view. The Patterson family part of the great support that has been offered to Power Max Racing by loaning Adam Weaver the spare car that they had, which was the ex-Restart Racing Scott Sumpton chassis. And Dexter Patterson, one of our 3 Scottish drivers, one of 4 locals, if you like, because Chris Smiley from Northern Ireland counts this as his local circuit. Yeah,
about 40 minutes away, isn't it, on a plane, so it is his local circuit. But yeah, the 2 Power Max Cupras, unerringly similar in look to the Astra. In fact, the decal kit, the whole wrap, is actually the one that is used on the Astra. There wasn't time to redesign it, but it fits nearly exactly on the car. So there you go. One of us will be the first one to say Astra, I'm sure.
Nick Halstead there on track. So that's the borrowed chassis. The Patterson family having lent that Scott Sumpton car to Nick Halstead. The Max Hall car from earlier on in the season is the one that now is going to be in the hands in Group 2 of Mikey Doble. Dan Lloyd, after his engine travails at Croft, has a new engine in his car. He pits. Also Aaron Taylor-Smith, who's in Group 2, has had a new engine for the weekend, and that seemed to work well for him in FP2. He was second fastest, but we'll come to ATS in Group 2. BMWs stay out as anticipated, and they're going over the timing line then. You've got Daryl De Leon sitting on the back of Charles Rainford.
Yeah, strong circuit for BMW, of course, this. As I said in that pre-race interview with Jake Hill, 15 wins out of the last, 10 wins out of the last 15 races, but it's a BMW-friendly circuit. They have made some adjustments to the throttle mapping. They found that last year's mapping was better. They've lost 15 kilos as well. They did that at Croft. They should be good here. You know, and Charles Rainford was quickest in free practice too, so you would expect Jake Hill, no disrespect to Charles Rainford or Daryl De Leon, but you'd expect Jake Hill with a bit more boost now to really be up there. Interesting, the front-wheel drive cars all did, apart from Dexter Patterson, 2 laps to warm the tyres before crossing them over because it's such a short lap.
And Charles Rainford is going to offer up the target time, and he will break the beam now. And Charles Rainford does a 54.8. Well, that's nowhere near what he was doing in FP2. He did a 50.787. Last year's pole time, Colin Turkington, BMW, 50.8. So that's where we're aiming for.
Yeah, the record qualifying lap is a 50.4. But they were underneath Ash Sutton's race lap record this morning, so there's every indication that we could get very close, if not beat that qualifying record.
Right, so Charles Rainford going quicker again. If it's green, it's good. If it's purple, it's really good. Remember, in those sector times, the front-wheel drive cars, having done the tyre cross, are now back out on track, and will start to shuffle the order accordingly. This is Charles Rainford then, coming out of the hairpin. They drag up the hill, but of course, to the timing line, it's here rather than the start line, which is at the top of the hill. Rainford goes through, does a 51.007. And for those drivers that have got quite a lot of boost, and in terms of racing laps worth of boost, you can deploy it coming out of the hairpin and of course keep on deploying it onto the start of the next lap.
Yeah, and because it's a relatively short lap, just 1.2 miles, you get plenty of laps while the tyres are at their peak. Yeah. So assuming you don't break track limits, which is easier said than done, and I'm surprised we haven't mentioned it already, but assuming you don't break, you get plenty of laps where the tyres are in a really good window.
Well, we're almost at the halfway point of Group 1, and Daryl De Leon then accelerating his way down towards the hairpin. So he is now faster than anybody within the first sector of the lap. The time to beat is a 51.007, which is better than Tom Ingram did in FP1. So we're sort of in the ballpark now, and up towards the timing line comes Daryl De Leon. Charles Rainford goes through ahead of him, and now we're bang on halfway through the session. Does De Leon go to the top of the times? The answer is no, and we are now talking track limits because the lap's been taken off Sam Osborne.
But this is the real push lap from De Leon. That last one was a good lap, but he's really on it now. Tyres absolutely the window. as we see Ash Sutton. What can he do given his qualifying prowess?
Another lap's been taken off Senna Proctor as well. So over the timing line goes Ash Sutton then, and as he breaks the beam, that's going to put him up the order to second, and Dan Camish fifth. Now we need to start looking at the Magic Six, don't we? Sutton way up the curve there, plunging downhill. Rainford, Sutton, De Leon, Proctor, Camish, Lloyd are in, and that now changes because with Senna Proctor losing a lap, he goes down to 11th, and Dexter Patterson is into the top six. This is Proctor.
This is Proctor, been straight on the pace since he came back into the championship. Dan Camish and Ash Sutton have the second and third best average qualifying positions, and they're both in this group.
There is Senna Proctor, as you say, came into the series late, so in terms of qualifying, he's always gone into it with but maximum boost. We've got another driver having lap times disallowed. It's Nick Halstead. This is Dexter Patterson, who is currently 8th, trying to get himself into that top 6, running out of time as he goes through the chicane. That big Recticel barrier on the left, that was moved a couple of times in FP2, and the session had to be stopped to put it back in place.
Yes, it's a good thing to have on the inside. There's no excuse for hitting it on the inside there, but you're trying to open up that chicane as much as possible, so it's there for a good reason.
I thought for a moment you were saying something to do with track limits was a good thing. I wondered what had happened to you then. You got me worried.
Well, it's on the exits of corners that I have a problem because the drive, especially over blind crests, because drivers just can't predict where the car's going to go. But I accept that one.
Right, now this is Tom Chilton, and he's heading up to the line. Senna Proctor is up to third again, and Chilton's ninth, so he's got to be an improver. He will go across the line and stays ninth, but the headlight should be on next time through. So Chilton remains a man to watch. He's well placed in the championship, but doesn't qualify brilliantly, but he does have a good race day, builds it well.
Yeah, he does. Well, we've seen it before in qualifying where he's lost a lap and had to deliver at the end of the session, and he is more than capable of doing that. Of course, being engineered by Barry Plowman, the ex-Dynamics, well, not ex, he's still Dynamics, but one of the founders of Dynamics, along with Matt Neal and Steve Neal, his father.
Dan Lloyd here, number 123, the restart racing. Hyundai, it was a tough croft for the team, for Dan especially. He had to miss that last race because of the big engine drama. Darryl De Leon now goes fastest on a 50.689 from Rainford, from Camish third, Proctor fourth, Sutton fifth, Osborne is sixth, and Dan Lloyd is 51 thousandths of a second away from Osborne, so he's got to find 52 thousandths to get in.
Yeah, and it was a difficult one, as you say, Croft, because they had this engine overheating problem. He managed to get through and win the Independence Trophy, at least for race one, but in carrying on, the engine was absolutely destroyed. New block, new head, and a lot of other parts as well, but it's a totally rebuilt engine.
So right now, Lloyd, Dorlin, Chilton, Patterson, Halstead are the ones that are going to miss out. Patterson's just had another lap taken off him to track limits as well, as Dan Lloyd gets onto the brakes hard for the hairpin and a bit of a lock-up. He comes out the other side, scrambles up the hill. This lap is with a slower sector 1 and a quicker sector 2. So what can Dan Lloyd do when he breaks the beam? The answer is we wait for the time, and Dan Lloyd goes by, but stays 7th. Oh, and we've got James Dorlin having a lap taken off him as well.
But 50.6, that is the fastest lap we've seen today. Great shot going through that chicane. Whoa. But look how high Proctor's car goes by hitting that curb. I think we pretty much decided last year, didn't we? The quickest way was to stay off that curb and keep the wheels on the ground driving forward.
Yeah, track limits say you can't go over. Doesn't say anything about above, sort of hovering over. So, but if the wheels aren't doing anything other than being in the air, you're not really progressing. They're heading into the end of the lap is James Dorlin, who is 8th. James, having never been here before, learning all the time, goes over the timing line now, and he was quicker than he had been in the second sector on that previous lap, and waiting for the time to come up, still 8th fastest.
All these drivers starting their last lap with just 21 seconds on the clock to go. Coming up to finish his lap, this is Sam Osborne. All the Napa Fords reliveried for this meeting to reflect their charity contribution to a well-known Scottish charity. And he goes across the line, but no improvement on that lap. He is 6th though, and he is in.
He is indeed. This is Dexter Patterson, who, as the checkered flag comes out, is not going to be an improver because sectors 1 and 2 were slower, and he won't get another lap. There's the flag. Goes over the timing line. And Dexter Patterson's lap then was a 51.788. And 1 or 2, in fact, ending the session early. Tom Chilton only 9th, and he's bailing, isn't he? He's not even finishing the lap on the track. He'll be very frustrated with that.
He'll be very disappointed as well. I mean, he has got boost to use. We know is quick, so clearly a bit of a setup issue. Proctor, obviously in the same team, different livery, but still in the same team, has gone through in 4th place. So, yeah, Chilton with a bit of work to do.
And that crossing the line is Ash Sutton, who is in. He's 5th. So the drivers that provisionally will go through are Darrell De Leon as the fastest, Charles Rainford, his teammate, 2nd. 3rd quickest then Dan Camish, Senna Proctor 4th, Ash Sutton 5th. And Sam Osborne makes all 3 of the Napa Racing UK Fords go through. We lose the Restart Racing Hyundai of Dan Lloyd, the Toyota Gazoo Racing UK Corolla of James Dorlin, the Team Virtue Hyundai of Tom Chilton is out, the Unlimited Motorsport Dexter Patterson Cupra, and Nick Halstead's Power Max Racing Cupra gone as well. And Ash Sutton's last lap taken off him for track limit offences. Doesn't matter though, he was still okay to be 5th. So Ash Sutton making his way back to the pit lane. And let's have a look then at how we stand at the end of Q1 Part 1. The first group, Darrell De Leon the fastest, 0.2 of a second in fact quicker than Charles Rainford, quite a margin round here. Then Dan Camish, a further 36 thousandths back, Senna Proctor 4th, Ash Sutton 5th, and Sam Osborne rounding out the top 6. In the end, he was 51 thousandths quicker than Dan Lloyd, who misses out, so does James Dorlin, along with Tom Chilton, Dexter Patterson, and Nick Halstead. So that is Group 1. Group 2 will be next. There you can see the teams ready to pull the cars back. We haven't yet touched on, but perhaps we ought to, especially that we're going to see him in this session. The Goodyear Wingfoot Award, which is led based on points from qualifying. He's led by Tom Ingram, and we'll see him in Group 2. Now, disappointment for another Tom Chilton. He is out of qualifying, Louise.
Disappointment, and I guess by the look on your face, a bit of head scratching as well.
Yeah, but it clearly hasn't worked, has it? I actually drove, I thought, really well. I like this circuit a lot. I did 2 lap times exactly the same. Beginning, backed off, went again at the end. Both was a 51.36, same thousandth. Got everything perfect. Thought he was going to say a pole because it was that good. You should have seen it in the car, it was perfect. But I made it into Q2, so it shows you how competitive, Louise. And if you get one thing wrong on the car setup, you're nowhere.
What was it not giving you? That? Well, I'd say that. You were saying you thought it was giving everything that you wanted.
The balance, you should have seen me. I was on edge everywhere. It looked fun and it looked fast, but it clearly wasn't fast enough.
Bad luck. Hope you could get a little bit faster for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Louise, thanks. Disappointment for Tom Chilton. Right, well, we know there are going to be some hard luck stories out of this second group as well. Let's just remind you who we will have on track. Aaron Taylor-Smith, Tom Ingram, there he is, Chris Smiley, Dan Rowbottom, Aidan Moffat, who's not been a great qualifier this year. Maybe here on home soil he can rise to the occasion. Adam Morgan, Jake Hill, Mikey Doble in the Power Max Racing Cupra. You've got Max Buxton, who's also never been here before, Nicholas Hamilton, and Gordon Shedden, who had a pretty wasted second practice session with a wastegate clamp coming off, and it was a difficult thing to repair in the pit lane. They tried, but he never went out. So Gordon Shedden this weekend starting, of course, on very much home soil, family owning the circuit on about as much of the back foot as it could be. Yeah, red hot exhaust bracket, wasn't it, off the back of a turbo, so poor mechanics desperately trying to fix it in the session with it doesn't get any hotter under the engine bay than off the turbo, but they couldn't do it, so unsurprisingly. He's back out now, though. And these are all the views of Gordon Shedden, all for possibilities to have a look out of the front of the car, from the front side, at the driver, and looking back as well. If anybody knows how to exploit this place, it is Gordon Shedden. He always comes here with the weight of expectation on his shoulders, and as he heads out of the chicane, a quick look left, and he'll quickly calculate the crowd figure for the day and work out how much profit they're in, because as the circuit's business development director, that's important too. Well, there is, I can tell him, there's an excellent crowd here all around the circuit. For a Saturday, this is absolutely fantastic, but the Scottish crowd are hugely enthusiastic and always turn out for this meeting, and the fine weather and local drivers in the mix has definitely brought them out, so I can only imagine what tomorrow's going to look like. Yeah, it's been busy all day, which is great to see. Of course, for Knockhill, it's the Circuits Grand Prix weekend, the biggest car meeting of the season, and great to see. Right, Ingram's view, but we can anticipate that he will think about a tyre cross, and it's going to be this lap. Some are staying out. We saw in Q1, Group 1, a couple of laps to get warmth into the tyres. Naturally, the BMWs will stay out there. It's a BMW that we have at the moment. The fastest, Darrell de Leon's 50.689. In Q1 Group 1. Looking Scottish, but the Kent driver, Jake Hill, comes out of the chicane, and like he said to you at lunchtime, P nowhere in the championship. He's nothing to lose now.
No, and he clearly wasn't happy with the setup, yet the other two BMWs were going very well. I mean, he really should be a potential pole sitter. The car's good here, and we've seen quick pace from the others. He's got boost, and he is the team leader.
Does Jake sort of put too much pressure on himself and almost talk himself out of a good result sometimes?
The pressure's off him now because he's not in the championship hunt,
Yeah.
so that shouldn't apply. I'm just not quite sure if Jake is 100%. That's just his body language when we were talking to him was very down. That could have just been because the car wasn't right, but and the body language is always good when you're quickest, isn't it? But let's just see how he goes. But he should be very quick in this session.
Well, he had done a decent lap. Aidan Moffat's now gone quicker, but everyone's going to go quicker because these are just start-up laps at the moment. Already we're down to 6 minutes of the 10 for this second group. We know that Aidan Moffat has had a pole position in the past in his Infinity days, but at Croft, but it's been a tough season for him this year in terms of getting into Q2. This is Jake Hill, though, now with an absolute best in the first sector, coming down to the hairpin.
Yeah, this is going to be the quickest lap so far. But obviously we've got that 50.68 as a marker from the first session by his teammate Darrell de Leon. He comes across, so 51.2, so that's still building tyre temperature. The next lap will be the better one, but the front-wheel drive cars are going to be coming into it soon as well. The time goes so quickly here, just 10 minutes, but really does go quick. Interesting to watch his line through here, close to the edge there, caught a bit of curb there, and it flicked the car out. I thought he was neater when he didn't take the curb on the right-hand side there. It just makes the car spend too much time up in the air. That's a track limits investigation area coming out of Clark. Jake Hill was absolutely fine on this lap. He is quicker. He's done an absolute best in the first and an absolute best in the second. So this is going to be the quickest time. Let's see what it is as he comes across the line.
To the timing line he comes then, and Jake Hill will go by. We wait for the time to come through. One or two gremlins in the system which just delay things, and we'll get that lap time confirmed. And Jake Hill did a 51.211, but Aidan Moffat a 51.035. So improvements, but it's still Moffat ahead.
Yeah, Moffat took that best lap off him with the fastest second and third sector.
I fear Nick Hamilton's lap's about to disappear because of track limit abuses at turn 7, which is the fast right of Clark's. Over the line now goes Tom Ingram, and we will have that lap confirmed shortly to put him up the order. Gordon Shedden's currently 4th, by the way. Ingram is 8th, and we've got 4 minutes to change on the clock.
Ingram, of course, has had pole at the last 2 meetings, despite being second in the championship with only 3 seconds of boost. He was on pole at Alton Park by nearly half a second, and also on pole at Croft. But this is a very different type of circuit.
Adam Morgan has had a lap time taken off him. Tom Ingram's done the absolute best in the first sector of this lap then as he comes through his locks, now down towards the Taylor's hairpin. That's Nick Hamilton's Cupra just up the road. So wheel lifting, Ingram comes through the hairpin. Absolute best, personal best. He's used the boost available on this lap. Let's see what he can do. A 51.03 to beat. He comes over the timing line then, and Ingram goes fastest, 50.960. Not as quick as De Leon in Group 1, but he puts himself top, and crucially he's in the 6 that will progress.
Meanwhile, Aaron Taylor-Smith, who's been very quick here and was quick here last year, is up to 3rd. Rowbottom's 4th, and Morgan is 5th.
So those that are out, Doble, Hill, Shedden, Hamilton and Buxton, there are some big names in those that are currently missing out. So it's going to be a bit frantic this. Chris Smiley has just had a lap taken off him, so he's out of the top 6, and that brings Doble into the 6.
It'd be wonderful if Mikey Doble and the Power Max team can get through even this first part of qualifying, but Smiley was in until that track limits infringement, and that was at Clark, the fast right-hander out the back of the course.
Jake Hill goes third, so Ingram, Moffat, Hill, and now Rowbottom is quickest, and now Taylor Smith's time is confirmed as putting himself fastest. We had an internet connection from the timing force giving a few gremlins. That's why the times are a bit late in coming through. So the times aren't being instant, but they are confirmed when we give them to you. Ingram is the fastest now. He's gone by next, and a 50.884. So Ingram, Taylor Smith, Rowbottom, Moffat, Hill, Smiley are the 6 that will now go through, except Taylor Smith has just had a lap taken off him. I just wonder whether his previous best was enough to keep him in the 6.
Yeah, I think they're just catching up, aren't they, on the timing. Morgan comes across the line, did a personal best in sector 1, but doesn't go any quicker, stays 7th, just outside.
Yeah, only by 4 thousandths of a second. So he's close to being in, but he's not quite there.
Huge bounce there as he caught the curve at Duffer's Dip, and it took him all the way down through Leslie's to control it.
Just had
Not surprisingly, he's backed off now on this lap.
He's looking for the nearest laundrette. Big moment for Adam Morgan. We've had a slow down Rowbottom go over the line as well. He might be looking for track space to go again. Let's see. This is Rowbottom's view. He's got himself on the back of Mikey Doble's Cupra here, heading through the chicane. You see how close they get to that Recticel barrier, and Mikey Doble gets out of Rowbottom's way. The blue lights are flashing, and the slower car pulls out of the way. Rowbottom now coming through that fast right of Clark's using the curb, and we are with just about 1 minute and 20 seconds of the session remaining now.
So Ingram is the quickest in the Team Virtue Hyundai with a time of 50.8, but lots more track limits penalties coming through now.
One of them is Gordon Shedden, who was outside the top 6 anyway, and he's had another lap disallowed. Not for the first time this year, Gordon falling foul of track limit regulations. Mikey Doble also, he's missing out on track limits, and Tom Ingram has done enough, and he's already pitted.
Yeah, he has done enough. He can go in and start to work with his team on the next sector of qualifying, so he's perfectly happy with his moment. Ingram, Rowbottom, Moffat, Hill, Taylor Smith and Smiley back into the top 6.
In other words, the ones that miss out are Doble, Morgan, Shedden, Buxton and Hamilton. There is Gordon Shedden, who is still pushing. Sector 1 is a personal best. Let's see what he can do. Heads down towards the hairpin then now. Gordon Shedden on home soil, looking to try to get through to the next part of qualifying. There is Mikey Doble, who is 8th in the new to him Cupra, learning about this left-hand drive car. He goes over the timing line, and Mikey Doble ends 8th provisionally and waiting for the time to be confirmed. It was a better sector 1, it was a slower sector 2, and he stays outside the top 6, flings the car there, look down the hill, going through McIntyre's, corrects the slide. Mikey Doble then ending the session 8th quickest, and a big snap coming out of the chicane. Please don't hit anything, Mikey. Around he goes, and all of that after the checkered flag.
Yeah, well, the last thing the team need is any kind of damage. As you can imagine, they're hugely limited on spare parts, but the car already looked a little bit oversteery, didn't it, as they came through McIntyre's, and then he got wide onto the gravel with the loaded rear, and round it went on him very quickly. So yeah, a little bit of I'd call that spiky handling. But yeah, once he got that wheel over the curb and in the gravel, it was not going to stop. The little bit of flame you see is just a little bit of unburnt fuel catching, but he's back safely into the paddock. So the top 6 going through are Ingram, Rowbottom, Moffat, Hill, Taylor Smith and Smiley, with Morgan, Doble, Shedden, Buxton and Hamilton missing out.
Aidan Moffat into Q2 for the first time. It's been a long time coming, but on home soil he has done it. Tom Ingram then makes the progression as the fastest driver, so he's been in Q2 in all 7 sessions this year. Dan Rowbottom, as Tim has been saying, he makes it through as well. That's his 5th Q2 appearance. Aidan Moffat's 1st. Jake Hill a 5th, because of course he wasn't in the Croft session. Aaron Taylor Smith also makes it through. It's his 4th Q2 visit, and it was Chris Smiley who was the other driver to make it in, and that's a 4th appearance in Q2 for Chris Smiley. We'll confirm those times in a moment. Rowbottom's had another lap taken off him. Still quite a few filtering through the system as Dan Rowbottom arrives at the team. They've got the blowers on then to try and get some cool air into the front of the car. and the team's quickly turning the cars around. If you're in Group 2, of course, there's not much time afforded before you back out on track. If you're in Group 1, it's a little bit easier. Right then, we've got Ingram, Rowbottom, Moffat, Hill, Taylor Smith and Smiley to progress. Let's look at the times. Just 22 thousandths though between Ingram and Rowbottom. Remember, Tom Ingram doing that with only 1 second of boost per lap, and yet he's still quicker than everybody else in the group. Dan Rowbottom second, Aidan Moffat third, Jake Hill fourth, Aaron Taylor Smith fifth, and then Chris Smiley to round out the 6 that go through. We lose Adam Morgan, we lose Mikey Doble, we lose Max Buxton and Nicholas Hamilton, and we lose the man that's 9th, that's Gordon Shedden, and Gordon is with Louise.
Yeah, and I'm thinking from the body language as he got out of the car, a rather frustrated Gordon Shedden.
Yeah, you could say that. Just a bit of a waste of time, that really. We're nowhere near where we need to be. But, you know, that's when you miss free practice too, it puts you on the back foot, and we've not recovered at all. So, yeah, work to do, but difficult.
How much or how easy is it going to be to kind of recover ground tomorrow and get the car where you want it to be?
I've got no idea, but at the minute it's not very good, so anything would be a step forward.
All right, bad luck, Gordon.
So big frustration for Gordon Shedden, and sometimes it's what a driver doesn't say that's more revealing, and he's biting his tongue a bit.
Yeah, because it's his home race. You know, there's no more important race for him than he'd be disappointed any weekend, but this more than ever. Yeah. And he is right, because he did lose a lot of track time in free practice too. But there is pace in the car, because teammate Aaron Taylor Smith has gone through, so they have got a setup that works.
Lots of head shaking from Gordon Shedden, who is a hard taskmaster. He'll make sure the team works long and hard to get that car somewhere near the pace. So we are almost good to go then for Q2. The Tom Ingram fans are ready, and so's the man himself then. Just that 1 second of boost. So let's remind you, Darrell De Leon will go through. He was quickest in Group 1. He's got the full 15 seconds a lap. Charles Rainford, likewise. Dan Camish goes through. He's got 7 seconds a lap. Senna Proctor's got the maximum. Ash Sutton, 3 seconds a lap. And Sam Osborne also doing a good job. That's his second Q2 appearance. He's got the maximum. 1 second for Ingram per lap. 5 for Rowbottom. 15 for Moffat. Jake Hill will have 13 a lap. Taylor Smith gets 15. And Chris Smiley also 15 per lap. So... yeah, there are some cars with lots of power up against Ingram with his 1 second.
Yeah, but don't count him out, not based on what we've seen in the last two qualifying sessions of meetings. But his time was a couple of tenths slower than De Leon's.
Yeah,
so
true.
he wasn't the fastest. So unless he pulls something out of the bag, which he's more than capable of, those BMWs are a real threat for pole.
Knowing Ting, it'll be a special Ingram merchandise bag from which he can pull it, because he's never short of good ideas on the commercial side of the championship. Right, the green light is shown at the end of the pit lane. 10 minutes then, the cars make their way down the pit road. It's Chris Smiley closest to pit out, so he heads down the road first ahead of Aaron Taylor Smith. Darrell De Leon will be next. You're on board with Dan Rowbottom in the queue. Jake Hill's on his way down the pit lane. Seb is then Charles Rainford, then Aidan Moffat, then Senna Proctor. Tom Ingram will be next ahead of Sam Osborne. Then it'll be Camish, Rowbottom and Sutton, and that's the 12 cars out on track. And Aidan Moffat thinking, well, this is all a bit new. What do I do now? Never had to work this hard in qualifying, certainly this season. It's good to have him in Q2.
It is, yeah. So all 4 BMWs through, and also the Fords and Hyundais of several Hyundais. Smiley's through, obviously Ingram is through, and Proctor as well, so 3 Hyundais.
Yeah, one from the Restart Racing team, the others from Team Virtue, as there you've got the BMW heading down towards the hairpin. Aidan Moffat you're looking at, so it was here that he made his debut a long time ago as a teenager, and has developed into a very handy touring car racer, a race winner over the years. Comes up then to accelerate now over the timing line. Of course, the start and finish lines in different places. Start line at the top of the brow, the timing line, the finish line right in front of the timekeeper's box coming over the hairpin.
Yeah, so you need to start your lap off very well to get a flying start across that timing beam, but you can end it a lot closer. So in fact, you can make up time just on the brakes, sacrifice a little bit of the exit if you've got boost especially, just to shorten the circuit. So a different approach to the last corner depending on whether it's the start or the finish of the lap.
On board with Tom Ingram then, getting a bit of warmth into the tyres as he heads into Clark's fast right-hander here. Turn through the right, back onto the power, and
Just building tyre temperature at the moment. Obviously, front-wheel drive cars due in this lap to diagonally cross over the tyres. So the left front, which is the warmest tyre on the front-wheel drive car, because it's doing all the outside cornering and acceleration, will go on the right rear, which is the coldest part of the car, and vice versa on the other side. Takes about 3 or 4 laps actually for the BMWs to get their peak temperatures up, even though we're on the soft tyre. And even though it's a warm day, but it's very hard to work the right-hand side of the car because there's so few left-hand corners.
There's Jake Hill with the gold number plates as the reigning champion. So he's got the road not quite to himself, but he's trying to maximise that clear track space around him. He's done absolute best in sectors, but they're all a bit meaningless at the moment until A, he's on a proper push lap, and B, you've got everybody else running at a qualifying pace against him. 7 minutes are on the clock, and remember, we've got 12 and we're going to lose 6 of them.
Yep, this is to get into the final 6, which will then decide the qualifying positions for those. So it's just getting into that top 6. Smiley's coming out the pits just in front of Jake Hill, and Jake Hill will be on a push lap, so hopefully he managed to avoid him and not hinder him.
That's Smiley getting out of the way of De Leon there, who comes up towards the chicane, rides the curve nicely enough. First time Darrell's raced the BMW here, so there's a bit of learning going on, even though we know that he's a very handy touring car racer, a winner at Brands Hatch back in May, a little bit crossed up maybe as he bounces over the curb through Clark's.
Yeah. And again, you can see the fastest line for those BMWs. We always have this discussion, which is faster through the chicane, the front-wheel drive or the rear-wheel drive. And the feeling is the front-wheel drives gain a little bit on the way in, but the rear-wheel drive cars definitely gain a bit on the landing.
Going up towards the line is Charles Rainford, who was the fastest in FP2. Right, now the times are going to start to matter. Hill, 50.9. Rainford, 50.9. 34 thousandths between them. De Leon is third. And Moffat's going to be the next one to watch for a proper lap coming out of him.
Yeah, so we're really on it now. These are very quick times, not far off what they did in FP, or in the first part of qualifying Group 1. De Leon did 50.68, so virtually 60.7, so we're close.
And here come the track limit warnings. So Charles Rainford had just lost that last lap for exceeding track limits at turn 7, Clark's.
And on this lap, De Leon has done the fastest first sector of anybody.
Yeah.
And he's now coming up to the second, to the final finish line. This middle sector wasn't the fastest, but it was his personal best. Does he go any quicker? Yes, he does. 50.7 puts De Leon on top.
50.7. It was a 50.6 he did in the earlier part of qualifying. He might be able to go yet faster. Again, now it's about getting through into the next part. There is Sam Osborne, as Chris Smiley has just gone third, and Moffat is fourth ahead of Camish and Rainford, but it's going to shuffle pretty much as every car crosses the line really now. This is Osborne then. He just gets better and better and better the more seat time he gets. Ingram has gone across the line, and Ting's eighth, as now we lose a lap for Camish.
Well, Camish has got a very good qualifying record, hasn't he? He's second in the over average scores of an average position of 2.5, or grid 2.5, only beaten by Tom Ingram.
Now Ingram, we saw a moment ago, he was starting a flying lap, and Camish has got to go again. He does go again, and he goes 8th, so Camish gets himself up the order. There's Darrell De Leon, who has gone faster still, a 50.740. So Darrell De Leon was a bit slower in that last sector, but the overall lap time was even better. Rainford's up to third, so it's BMW's 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Osborne's now had a lap disallowed. 4 minutes to go.
De Leon looks really neat and tidy. He's driving that car really well, keeping forward momentum, not fighting the car, not losing too much time off the curbs. Looks really nice.
On board with Ingram, and he's coming now down towards turn 3 at McIntyre's. This is Jake Hill, second in the times. Make that third. Santa Proctor's now gone second. Getting out of the way of Jake Hill there. Look, is Rainford. Hill still charging along. So right now, Sutton is 6th. He's the one on the bubble. Behind him were Smiley and Moffat and others, but it's all changed yet again because Ingram's gone 4th, Rowbottom has gone 5th, Rainford is still 6th, Osborne is 7th. Let's get Hill across the line. He's down to 3rd. He's on the boost. He comes up to the timing line. He'll get past Chris Smiley, and Jake Hill has gone through. We wait for the time to be confirmed. Bear with us. As soon as it is confirmed, we'll know where he slots in. That's Sutton, who's backed off for that lap. Hill's time we're still waiting for. Now we get it, and he goes second. 6 thousandths shy of De Leon. So He is second fastest, and it's 6 thousandths between the BMs.
And with the fastest sector of anybody on that last sector. Perhaps they were just checking it, that's why the time didn't come through so quickly.
Sutton's just had a lap disallowed. Sutton's down to 12. Sutton is out at the moment. He has got time in which to get back into the top 6, but he has had the lap disallowed, and so has Chris Smiley, so the order is shuffling all the time. Those that miss out at the moment are Osborne, Camish, Taylor Smith, Smiley, Moffat, Sutton. Now there is Sutton, last lap track limits at turn 2. He's come through there, so he's okay, I think, for this lap. Accelerates now down the hill. Makes that climb out of Butchers up the other side through the chicane, where he was well airborne earlier on in the day in free practice. He's closing on Dan Camish, and Camish at the moment is 7th. He's out as well, so he's got to keep on pushing.
Yeah, it's not working out well at all for Sutton and Camish, is it? Ingram 4th now.
Now Rowbottom is 6th, and he is 600ths of a second, or 61 thousandths if you prefer, ahead of Camish. So if Camish gets in, it's going to be at the expense of his teammate. It's going to be one disappointed Dan for certain. Up towards the timing line then now will come Camish. He's got Sutton behind him. Camish goes through, we wait for the time. Sutton goes through. Well, Camish doesn't improve, so he's still 7th. And Ash Sutton doesn't get into the 6. He does improve. He does a 51.103, but it's nowhere near good enough. A minute and a half to go.
So at the moment, we've only got the Rowbottom car of the Napa Racing Fords through into the top 6. But we've got Proctor and Ingram for Team Virtue, and De Leon, Hill and Rainford for BMW.
Underlining your point about this being a BMW track, Dan Camish has bailed, so he's not going to get through. It looks like Jake Hill has as well, because he's pitted, and I wonder whether Sutton's going to back out of it as well. Aaron Taylor-Smith's had another lap time disallowed. Over the line goes Ingram. Well, he's in, he's 4th. That'll do him.
I think that's enough. That's turn 2. The inside there is where they're now monitoring track limits. Never used to be a place they monitored. It used to be the exit of turn 3 McIntyre's, but now the guys are taking so much of the inside track there, turn 2. They're now monitoring that as one of their 4 places to monitor track limits.
That's Moffat at the hairpin, and he is 10th. This might be an improved lap because there are better Sector 1 and Sector 2 times being shown. He comes over the line now, breaks the beam, and Aidan Moffat's lap we await the time for, and it's up to 8, so it was an improvement, but not by enough. This is Ash Sutton at the chicane, where he gets a little bit crossed up, and again way onto 2 wheels and way off the road, and somewhere in the dust storm is Ash Sutton. Wow,
that was huge. Look at that. Look, he was trying not to correct it, take a bit of left-hand lock to correct it. He wanted to stay on the track, but he had to stop the car rolling over. That was spectacular in the extreme. Even the skills of Sutton can't get that car round fast enough, but he has only got 3 seconds of boost.
And even Ash Sutton's car control couldn't bring it back to terra firma quickly enough. I think Louise needs to go and have a word with Ash. Even Ash might think that was a step too far.
Well, you'd need someone the weight of me on the right-hand side to sort of stop that lifting up, wouldn't you, David?
Let's go back to the times then. What a fascinating session. Darryl De Leon, the fastest then, by 6 thousandths of a second from Jake Hill. Senna Proctor goes through, Tom Ingram goes through, Charles Rainford goes through, Dan Rowbottom goes through. They're going to be the 6 that will fight it out for the final part of qualifying. Camish we lose, Moffat goes, Taylor Smith does as well, Smiley's out, the acrobatic Sutton and Sam Osborne gone as well. So Darryl De Leon's time, 50.740. And it means that Darryl has been fastest in his group and progresses to be the fastest in Q2 as well. Hill goes through, so does Senna Proctor as Dan Camish's car goes through the technical checks. Ingram, along with Charles Rainford and Dan Rowbottom, will go through. Let's have a look at the times then. Darryl De Leon the fastest on a 50.740, just to show how competitive it is. 6 thousandths of a second between him and Jake Hill. Senna Proctor 3rd ahead of Tom Ingram. Charles Rainford 5th, and Dan Rowbottom goes through for 6th. The margin between Rowbottom and Camish was just 600s. We lose Camish, we lose Aaron Taylor-Smith, we lose Chris Smiley. Aidan Moffat has gone, so has Ash Sutton, and so too has Sam Osborne. So we've got our final 10 minutes for 6 cars, and Daryl De Leon has looked mighty over the course of this session so far. Remember that although he's been a race winner, Daryl De Leon has not yet been a pole position winner within the British Touring Car Championship. That could well change before the end of qualifying today. There is Ash Sutton, Tony Carosa, just talking about a frustrating session, possibly talking about how good that car is on 2 wheels. Great balance, but fascinating to see, great to watch, but didn't really help the lap time.
I wonder if he told them just how close to going over it was. I mean, they may not have seen the coverage, and he may not have told them. Lewis,
let's go to Louise in the pit lane.
Let me just see if I can break in. Oh, Ash is coming over, bless you. Ash, I don't think anybody would be in any doubt as to how much you were pushing on that final lap.
I think I'm driving without the car's capabilities, if I'm brutally honest, and testing my own capabilities. But yeah, we just haven't got that ultimate one-lap pace like Tom seems to be able to do without the deployment. So, I mean, we're matching our teammates pretty much lap time-wise, and they've got a 10th or 2 tenths on me. So, yeah, it's frustrating because the car we're racing, we can't keep up with at the minute. And yeah, we'll see. Look, race day's always different. We always come back fighting race day, but yeah, just the 1 lap pace on Saturdays isn't quite where we need it to be.
Well, we saw that. I mean, last weekend or 2 weeks ago, you know, you had your frustrations in qualifying, and it came back to you on race day. But we are getting down to the sharp end of the season now, aren't we? It's getting to the point where you really need everything to be coming together nicely.
Yeah, I mean, we need to avoid having these bad Saturdays ultimately, but it's easier said than done. I mean, I was on the verge of rolling over at the chicane on that final lap there. So, I mean, I can't ask much more from the car. I'm giving it everything I've got. I mean, the quickest we've ever gone in Sector 1 with the state or the current regs that we're in. So, yeah, it's just one of those. We're like I said, we'll come back fighting. Race day is when we sort of fall into our favourite and we crack on from there.
I think we're actually just going to have a quick look at that incident as you were flying across the chicane. Just maybe you could just talk us through it.
Yeah, ultimately it's like I've been told I've got 1 more lap to do. That's pretty good for the viewers, isn't it? Let's be honest. But I had to stop turning the steering wheel. It was about to go over. I had to open it up, and hence why I was heading towards the gravel trap. So it was a close one, but I was giving it my absolute all. So yeah.
That is something else watching that. Well done, mate, for bringing it back home in one piece. Cheers, Ash.
Shows the presence of mind, doesn't it, that even on 2 wheels at that speed, you still know exactly what to do and how to get back onto the ground.
Yeah, well, I said you can feel the balance point, and he knew he had to turn left, open up the steering, as he put it. But now the whole team have seen that.
Yeah. Will it look worse to us or to him in the car?
Probably to us, actually.
Right. Yeah. Well, he is a spectator for the remaining 10 minutes of qualifying, and his championship rival is on track. Don't forget, there is that bonus point for pole position, and as we get towards the pointy end of the year, they're all important, those bonus points, lap leading points, fastest lap points as well. If Ingram can take another bonus point, that's just another thorn in the side of Ash Sutton as he tries to fight back in the championship. Right then, the rear-wheel drive cars will stay out and do a run. We expect after 2 laps the front-wheel drive cars to come in and do the tyre cross. Q3 is underway.
Yeah, 3 BMWs, Hill, De Leon and Rainford, 2 Team Virtue Hyundais, Proctor and Ingram, and a sole Napa Racing Ford of Rowbottom.
So Daryl De Leon has looked mighty, hasn't he, over the course of this session. Are we looking at BMW being back, or are we just looking at BMW being good around Knockhill?
Well, there's only 2 seconds of boost difference between De Leon and Hill. 13 for De Leon, 15 for Hill. So that tells you how well De Leon is driving. He is matching champion Jake Hill absolutely sector for sector. He's doing a really good job here, but I really do fancy one of these BMWs for pole, yeah.
Okay, so Daryl De Leon, Jake Hill, Charles Rainford, the 3 BMW drivers. Then you've got the Team Virtue Hyundai, Senna Proctor and Tom Ingram, and the Napa Racing Ford, Dan Rowbottom, the driver, out on track. 7.5 minutes are on the clock. Next time around, we ought to be getting proper lap times.
Yeah, and you're back to your question. Yes, this is a rear-wheel drive friendly circuit. The results and statistics back that up over the last few years. And it is a little bit like Brands. I don't think they've got as much advantage as they had at Brands. That was partly caused by the new tarmac there, but it is a very good track for BMW.
Dan Rowbottom then having the tyre cross, and we'll see what he can do when he goes back out, having by far and away his most competitive season within the British Touring Car Championship. After his heart operation of the winter, he's come back like a completely different person, never mind just a different driver. Dave Kelly, his #1 mechanic, gives him the thumbs up and say, OK, on you go, and down the pit road will go Rowbottom back out towards the circuit in the Napa Clean Focus. And there is Tom Ingram in the Team Virtue Hyundai, but Daryl De Leon here has now done a 52.5. We're still a couple of seconds shy of what we can expect, but again, at the moment, it's BMW being the target.
Just look how, I know he's not on a full push lap, but look how stable and clean that car looks coming through that chicane. It's a little bit soft, so which works well round Knockhill. You want to keep the tyres on the ground over the bumps as much as possible, and they seem to have nailed a really good setup.
Daryl De Leon just gets better and better all the time, doesn't he? Because you forget that he's a relative rookie to touring cars. He's not been a 3 seasons really in the championship. Came in partway through a year, didn't he? So he's got a lot of learning in a quick, short space of time. De Leon then up towards the timing line, but Jake Hill was the fastest. Charles Rainford is now the fastest. 60.673 for Charles Rainford, who's gone well round here in Carrera Cup in the past.
That is a really good time.
Yeah.
That's a very quick time. That's quicker, the quickest time we've seen so far. So far it was De Leon 50.68 before, so that's a slightly quicker lap by Rainford. He went 1 lap earlier. I think that De Leon is on his lap now, and De Leon has set the fastest first sector of anybody. So let's see if he can complete the lap cleanly.
Yeah, De Leon has done an absolute best in the middle sector as well, so barring a mistake at the hairpin, this ought to put Daryl De Leon to the top of the times. He's third at the moment as he comes then now up towards the timing beam, which he will break any second. He goes past the timing line, and De Leon is second because he did a 50.686. He lost a little bit of ground in that last sector.
And he's lost time on the start of this lap. So the last sector messed him up. The first sector is going to cost him this time. I thought we were on for a 60.5 then.
What can Tom Ingram do as he comes up towards the line? Over the line he will go. Ingram's time is a 55.029, so 5th is where he is at the moment. It's Charles Rainford then, the fastest. Sideways is Ingram at turn 1. He's up the curb at turn 2. Rainford to De Leon is 13 thousandths. Senna Proctor has had a lap time taken off him for track limit offences.
But that was Ingram absolutely on it for this lap. He was literally on the limit there. The last laps were the build laps. He's on it now for sure. Fastest sectors again coming through from Rainford and De Leon, who again doesn't go quicker in the final sector.
That's Rainford over the line, and he goes no faster, so he was about a 10th shy. This is Tom Ingram coming through the hairpin. Daryl De Leon is still second. Jake Hill third. It's a BMW 1-2-3 at the moment. De Leon's had a lap taken away, so has Rainford, but they're still first and second. Ingram is up to 4th now at the expense of Proctor. Rowbottom now goes 4th at the expense of Ingram.
Yeah, that was a personal best for both Rowbottom and Ingram, but Rowbottom was slightly quicker to the tune of 37 thousandths.
Jake Hill has had 4 career pole positions. He's third. Daryl De Leon, never a pole. Second, Charles Rainford, never a pole, and he is fastest. That was Dan Rowbottom getting right up against that Recticel barrier. New crash helmet for the weekend. All the Napa racing drivers, whether it's touring cars or minis, have got these specially designed Scottish-themed helmets courtesy of Joe Tanner. They were all unveiled the other night. And now Rowbottom is being warned about track limits at turn 7, which is over at Clark. He's coming down towards the hairpin. So then the clock ticks on down. 3 more minutes of qualifying to go. And can we get Charles Rainford or Daryl De Leon in a first career pole position? Rowbottom goes through. He's 5th again because Ingram is up ahead of him, but even Ingram has had a lap taken off him for track limit abuses.
Yeah, they've all got a lap time in, and they're trying that bit harder now, aren't they, and infringing the track limits, which you can understand because that's the idea of qualifying. Push as hard as you possibly can.
You heard what Ash Sutton was saying. You just got to push, especially if you are not as quick as 1 or 2 of the cars around you. I think he was referring to the Team Virtue Hyundai, but it's the BMWs that are the fastest cars right now. De Leon goes through but doesn't improve. This is Ingram. He's got to get past Senna Proctor, which had that slightly odd battle between them, didn't we, at Croft, when we didn't think Proctor was going to attack, and then all of a sudden he did, so Ingram had to fight back. So within the team, there's that championship situation for the drivers needing to be managed, with all the emphasis going on Ingram. He and Rowbottom are trading fourth. Ingram had got it, now Rowbottom has taken it back, and the margin between them is just 0.153 of a second with 2 minutes on the clock. And right now, Charles Rainford, who has done the best of anybody in Sector 3 during the course of the session, he is the fastest. But now Darryl De Leon has done the absolute best first, but he's down in the second sector.
Yeah, he can't string the 3 sectors together, and that will not help him on traction off the corner. If he could string 3 sectors together, De Leon could do it, but he's just overdriving a little bit.
Big slide, Darryl De Leon then, so that doesn't help. The margin is still that 13,000, and now it's Rainford getting it sideways and kicking the dirt into the face of Jake Hill coming out of the hairpin. So the BMW is getting ever so sideways, and it's still Rainford ahead of De Leon. Jake Hill goes by, but now the lap times aren't showing that many sector improvements. Have we had the best out of the tyres as an airborne Hill comes down through Duffer's Dip?
Yeah, we've definitely had the best of the tyres, but it's still possible to go fractionally quicker if you can string all 3 sectors together. This was the exit of the final Taylor's hairpin. The rear-wheel drive car putting on a nice power slide for the audience down there, but not the quickest way. Let's see what De Leon could do this lap. That was Rainford last time. He's gone really wide. Now that's to start up a lap. You do that to get a really good exit. This will be his final lap, but he's set it up very nicely to get a really good drive onto the start-finish line. Let's see if we follow this round, see if it's a clean lap. Turn 1, just a little bit of curve, but maybe a bit too much. Through turn 2, look nice. Get it stopped and rotated. Really good drive off here for turn 3 McIntyre's. Down through Butcher's. Now, is he clean through the chicane? A little bit of curve, just out to the margins. It's a clean lap, but it's an aggressive lap. What can he do at Clark? Is he wide here? He's got oversteer and he's wide. I think he's going to lose that, unfortunately, just trying a bit too hard.
And he was down in Sector 1 anyway, wasn't he? And he's down in Sector 2, so yeah, Darryl De Leon is going to end the lap second fastest, irrespective of whether this one counts or not. It's not going to be an improvement, and I think he may even have backed out of it. So Darryl De Leon heads to the checkered flag. This is Dan Rowbottom, meanwhile, being kept busy in the office. He's come out of the chicane. He's on that short straight up towards Clark's. He is 4th then, ahead of Ingram, behind Hill. It's a BMW 1, 2, 3. But again, looking at Rowbottom sectors, nothing coming in Sector 1. So kind of no point pushing on.
No, but to be fair to Rowbottom, fastest front-wheel drive car of anybody, and that is quite an achievement because he's got limited boost as well. He's only on 5 seconds of boost, being 3rd in the championship. This is a mighty qualifying performance by Rowbottom. Stays 4th.
And Charles Rainford then takes a first career pole position in the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship by 13 thousandths of a second. The car goes through the technical checks, and as long as the scrutineering team is happy, they'll let the car on its way. And it's going to be a delighted team. It's going to be a very, very happy Charles Rainford, who's been a real boost to the championship this year. Darryl De Leon 2nd, Jake Hill 3rd. So a sigh of relief perhaps from WSR's Dick Bennett. The cars leave the pit lane. They go round the back of the pit building to the full scrutineering bay. That's where Louise will head to go and have a word with the drivers. That's Tom Ingram arriving 5th then. So the run of pole positions comes to an end, 2 in a row, but not 3 in a row. Charles Rainford it is who is on top here, but Tom Ingram is still in the mix going into the opening race tomorrow. Let's look at the order at the end of Q3. Charles Rainford fastest from Darryl De Leon, Jake Hill 3rd ahead of Dan Rowbottom, then Tom Ingram and Senna Proctor rounding out the top 6. 13 thousandths of a second covering the top 2. Senna Proctor losing times for track limit offences, so let's ignore him, but say that the rest of that top 6 covered by just over 4/10 of a second. And there is Charles Rainford. Aidan Moffat amongst the first to go and congratulate him. Aidan sporting a very smart tartan cap, which he's been letting others have as part of their headwear for the weekend as well. Charles, who wears flat caps when he races at Goodwood, has got his special tartan one this weekend as well, courtesy of Aidan. He's now got his pole position winner's water bottle. He'll get the Goodyear Wingfoot award, courtesy of Louise in due course, for taking pole position. So Charles Rainford at first ever pole position in the British Touring Car Championship. Louise is down there as well.
Congratulations, Charles. As the guys were just saying, your first ever pole position in British touring cars. Not only do you get a big cuddle from your teammate Aidan Moffat, but you also get this rather lovely Goodyear Wingfoot Award.
Unreal.
Special moment.
Special moment. Even more so, those were the tyres I used in FP2. So they're also good ones. I'll ask for these again tomorrow morning for race 1, I think.
I mean, I think we could see right from the outset that, you know, the BMW is the car to be in this weekend, but it still took a mighty lap to get this pole position from your two equally, you know, very, very tasty teammates, didn't it?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I struggled in FP1 and 2. It was all mental. I even wanted to change the car. There we go.
Here we go, the all-important flat cap.
Cap in. I think that's luck this weekend. So thank you, Scotland. Yeah, you know, it was just all head game in FP1 and 2. I wanted to change the car, then I went back to Q3, and it was just amazing. So thank you so much to the boys at WSR, Elka Kira Car Parts, and Cognition Land of Water. I mean, it's just unreal. My performances, I can't even believe it. It's just something that I dream of, you know.
What did you need from the car to get that pole position lap? What was it that you found in this qualifying session?
Yeah, I mean, I was just suffering a rear locking, if I'm honest. I thought the car was a bit slow with the changes Dan and I decided we wanted to make after FP2. And then I got in my head all about it and went, no, it's slower, and then realised it wasn't. It was better. So just need to trust myself a bit more. That's going to come with more time and experience. So I'm getting there. I just want to keep learning, keep improving, and I'm so happy this is my first pole position in professional motorsport. I'm over the moon.
First in professional, wow, that is really something special, isn't it?
Yeah, I was never on pole in Carrera Cup GB. I came close a lot of times, but never got pole, so this just feels so sweet.
I'm amazed to hear that. So you got the race win before the pole position. Obviously you had that earlier on in the year, but I mean, you are in the best place and in the best car as well to be getting adding to those wins tomorrow, aren't you?
That's it, exactly. We knew we were in a better position after Croft. Made a couple of changes coming into this weekend, and in shakedown on Wednesday, I thought the car was good, and I'm so pleased that we've rolled out the box here, and it's been quick straight away. So yeah, well done to Jake, John Darrow as well. Let's see if we can bring home WSR 1, 2, 3 tomorrow.
Fantastic result. Congratulations. Well done, you. I can see some of the other drivers are just making their way into Parc Fermé. Jake Hill has just pulled up. Let's see if we can grab him as he gets out of the car. We'll give him a second to clamber out. It's I can tell it's hot down here, which is not something that we often say when we get to Scotland, but it's a hot old day. I can see there's a few beads of sweat on this boy's face. So it was a full-on session out there. And delivered well. Are you happy what it's delivered for you?
I mean, I'd love to have been on pole.
Yeah.
Can't lie, you know, especially on my return. But you know, I've got a little bit less hybrid than those boys. But nonetheless, they did a fantastic job, and it's great to have BMW 1, 2, 3.
I mean, that's something quite special. And Charles was just telling us that it's not just his first pole position in touring cars; it's his first ever pole position in professional motor racing. So good.
Yeah, fair play to him. You know, I mean, Charles has been quick all day. So hats off to him. He's been growing as a driver, and obviously, you know, this team, West Surrey Racing, has helped him improve as a driver as well. And yeah, I mean, the BMWs are back for a round at least. You know, I mean, we had our fun at Brands, and hopefully we'll have our fun tomorrow.
I mean, we talked earlier on about the fact that this circuit has always been so good for BMW. I think Dem's stat was like 10 out of the last 15 wins have been for a BMW. But it's not been where you wanted it to be so far this season. At most of the races anyway. What is it about this circuit that brings the best out of the car?
It's just the nature of the circuit, you know. I mean, we're just fantastic over the curbs. We have great traction out of the hairpin. You know, there's some really key corners here that help it. And there's not many uphill drags apart from the one out the hairpin, you know. And with our sort of power deficit that we feel we have to other cars, you know, it's just it's less intrusive here.
So you're going to have two teammates up ahead of you on the circuit at the start tomorrow. I'm be interested to see what the team chat is going to be like about tactics for the start of that first race.
Well, I think Darryl and Charles love getting into each other at the minute, so I'm just going to let them crack on, and I'm just going to have a great time and pick up what I can.
Good stuff. We will see you out there. In the meantime, let's go over and grab a word with Daryl DeLeon, just having a quick chat with his engine. Oh, now he's going around the other side of the car, so we will follow him around. Came so close. I mean, as we were saying during that session, you know, really putting in the sector times, but it was a question of putting all those sector times together on the one lap, because you were quick, but it just kept getting away from you.
Yeah, I mean, P2.
Yeah.
First of all, massive thank you to the team. It's really nice to be up at the sharp end, but so frustrating. I mean, being P1 and then P2. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit frustrating, but I'm so happy that I'm at the sharp end. And massive well done to Charles. He's obviously hooked it up. So yeah, I just can't wait to race tomorrow.
I mean, 3 BMWs out the front, that is a special result for the team, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think we're pretty happy with that. We've struggled a little bit pace-wise this year, but the team, again, I've said it so many times, working so hard to make sure the cars are as good as they can be, so we've got the best shot.
You've got to be on a bit of a high coming into this weekend after the results last time out. So what are your thoughts heading into race 1 tomorrow?
Yeah, I think you know, Croft was a really good weekend for us. Unfortunate about the last race where got collected in an incident, but yeah, Knockhill, we're quick in the Beamers, so hopefully we can you know, have a clean start and then get away for the rest of the race.
Fingers crossed for you. Well done for today. And I think we've just got time for a final quick word with Tom Ingram, if I can see him. Oh, here he is, out at the front of his car. Let's hold over and grab a word with Tom. It looks like we're going to interrupt some chat he's doing for the Team Virtue socials. So thanks. Sorry to break into that. Your thoughts on qualifying? I mean, we're surrounded by BMWs. It's a difficult car to beat here, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. But you know, focusing on where we are, I'm really pleased with what we've managed to do today. As Team Virtue, we've done a really just solid job. Just kept plucking away at it. We knew we didn't have the outright TTB on the button to necessarily go for pole, especially around somewhere like here. So I'm really pleased with the job that we've done. Congratulations to Charles. He's done a really good job to get pole there. Eyes on to tomorrow to see what matters when the points start being handed out. I think in a racing scenario we're going to struggle. I think we can be ready for that to happen. In race 1 last year, I sort of really did struggle. Ended up getting caught up in drama just with the lack of boost. So I think we'll struggle tomorrow, certainly for the first race. But we'll just eyes on for a good pointsy day as a Wasp decides to come and have a chat with us. So yeah, that's the plan.
Struggle for the same reason, because of that lack of boost. Is that what you thought it?
Yeah, exactly that. And obviously with it being quite a short circuit, you get more boost seemingly because it feels like you've got more laps at it. Ran somewhere like Snetterton, when you have less. Did you get it?
No, I think it got me. It's all right.
Oh. You get more laps around here, so it feels like you're in a slightly worse place. But yeah, well, like I say, we'll focus and we'll control the controllables and make sure that we do as good a job as we can, which is what we've been really focusing on this year and are doing a good job at. So yeah, head down and do our best.
We will see you out there on track tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Oh, now the flies have joined in. Back to you guys.
Hope you're not being a waspy woman, Louise, and all of this. The Wasps have been in great number around Knockhill and elsewhere in Scotland this weekend. Right, well done, Charles Rainford. First pole position in the British Touring Car Championship. First pole position, as he said, in professional motorsport. Can he convert that to a race win? Well, we'll find out tomorrow. We're on air on ITV4 from 10:45 with all the action, not only from the BTCC, but also from British F4, from the Virtue Mini Challenge, from Porsche Carrera Cup GB, and for the first time at Knockhill, the Caymans in Porsche Sprint Challenge GB as well. We'll see you tomorrow morning then, 10:45 over on ITV4. For now, from Louise Goodman, Tim Harvey and David Addison, it's goodbye.